Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new card making video. Today I am sharing with you a really cool new slimline die from Trinity Stamps. It's so new, it's not out yet. This is a sneak peek of the Floral Twinkle slimline die that'll be released on May 5th from Trinity Stamps. I cannot show you the die itself, but I'm going to show you what it looks like die cut right here. You can see it has a very intricate and delicate and beautiful pattern and an embossed edge. So this, being the intricate die that it is going to have a ton of fallout pieces. Having a tool like this tool-in-one from Spellbinders is going to help a lot. Those bristles on that brush can push those pieces out from the front and the back, and the pokey tool helps a lot. I am going to mount this over a gel press print that I have in my stash. I made this with paint on a gel press. Now I ran this through my die machine forward and back with a shim of just copy paper, but you got to be careful because it can make that embossed edge actually cut. So I'm just going to glue that back together when I glue this down on the background, and it's going to be totally fine. Just be aware of that. Okay, so now I've got this really cool varied background behind my die cut, which is one of my favorite ways to use cover plate dies. I'm going to trim off the excess, and now I have this gorgeous card front panel that makes for such a quick card. You really could just add a sentiment on top of this and be good to go. Now you can see there, you can put this down on your card with that embossed edge and have the entire front of your slimline card covered, but I'm trimming mine off right where that line is, and now I'm going to have a panel that's going to fit onto my slimline card and leave me with a nice border around it. So you've got options with this die. When you cut that off, you still have a blue border around your die cut. Okay, now it's time for some hot foiling. I am using this foiling floral die that was from the previous release by Trinity Stamps. I'm in love with it. It's so beautiful. I'm using Aura foil. You can see it's face up on my cardstock. I put my plate face down, and then I put the entire thing face down on my preheated Glimmer hot foil system. I press the timer. When the timer goes off about a minute later, I just run that entire dock through my die cut machine, and you can see the gorgeous foiled floral piece we have here. There is a coordinating die to cut it out, so yay, I'm totally cutting this out, and this will be kind of the focal image of my card today. I am going to watercolor this with some watercolors from the LH Color shop on Trinity, or no, she has her own Etsy shop, and you can check that out. I will link it for you below. She has two different collections now. Her shop is brand new, and these have shimmer in them. They're so beautiful. These are just a little sample. The size that you get will have a little bit more paint in them when you make a purchase, and I think you'll really like them. You can see the shimmer in them when I turn this in the light, and I just did some really loose watercoloring on here in a different light. Later I realized like I could have filled it in some spots a little bit better, so I think I'll go back and touch that up. I stuck that down with some foam squares, yeah, kind of a lot, onto my card to make sure it would stay there. And now I'm using the Happy Mother's Day sentiment set to die cut out Happy Mother's Day using scraps of my gel press print. I tried to get mostly in the yellow sections, and that's going to give me, you know, yellow words, but not like if I die cut it just from yellow cardstock. It's really varied. It has flecks of white and other colors like green in it, and it has texture. So I love using my gel press prints for die cuts like this. So now I'm going to have Happy Mother's Day. That is mounted onto the shadow die cut from white cardstock, and I just used some heavyweight cardstock to make this really sturdy. And I wanted to point out that the apostrophe and the S in this die set are separate pieces. So you can have just the word mother, or you can have mothers, and that apostrophe is the tiniest die in all the land. Oh, I'm really nervous about losing it. But anyways, let's go ahead and stick this down. I'm going to put foam squares on just part of this die cut so I can overlap it with my watercolored floral piece. And then the rest I'm going to glue directly down onto the card. I kind of need to snuggle these things in here on the card because I ran out of room on my Slimline card, which it's a big space to fill. It's 8.5 inches long, but I picked a big flower and a big sentiment, and it all fits on here in the end rather nicely. So there we are. Happy Mother's Day. Now it's time to embellish with some icy aqua baubles. These match my card really well, so I'm going to glue these in place. I've got my pickup stick here with that kind of little waxy end. It's going to pick these up and then allow me to stick them down rather nicely. And I have my tidy tray there, so when I'm done embellishing, I can just pour that right back into the container. Love it. These two tools make me so happy when I'm embellishing. So that finishes up card number 1, and you can see making a beautiful card with that die is so easy. Card number 2, I use the die to emboss into the cardstock. So to do this, you do need a specialty mat. This one right here, it's a silicone mat. Spellbinders sells them. You should be able to use them with the different die cut machines that you might have. And then this is an embossing plate. You might not need the plate for your machine. I need it for my Spellbinders machine. So I ran it through with that. And when you do that, you want to put the die down so that the cutting side is face up and the cardstock is on that, and then you put your spacers. So I am splattered that with some silk. I'm not sure if that silk is still available at the Spellbinder shop. If it is, I'll link it below, but you know, splatter it with something cute. You probably have some splattery things on hand. So now I am doing hot foiling, the same plate, the same aura foil, and this time I'm using another scrap of that gel press print, and we're going to get a really different look this time. The flower is going to be a lot more subtle, something that you're going to see best when you turn it in the light, and it's just cool on this print. You can get a feel for it a little bit better once I die cut this out. So here's the coordinating die, and when you are die cutting something foiled, you want to make sure that you don't cover up too much of the image with the tape, because it can dull out your foil a little bit. All right, so I'm going to stick that down with, yes, obscene amount of foam squares, because that's how I like it. And then we'll do some more die cuts for Happy Mother's Day. This time I'm using some gold mirror paper. I love gold mirror paper. I use it a lot. So I happen to have a scrap ready to go. And now I'm going to glue this down because I'm gluing it over this very textured paper, and I'm not using the shadow layer. I've got these thin little pieces of paper that have to be glued down to this textured surface. I want to make sure I use plenty of glue. And there you can see I'm using an acrylic block to kind of hold that down, and that's going to help it just really adhere. I also did happy and then day first, so I could then snuggle in the word mothers in between there, and you can see the things fit a little better without the shadow on here. But I just felt like the gold paper really stood out enough on its own that I didn't need that shadow layer on this one. What do you guys think? All right, so there's the tiny baby apostrophe. Such an important tiny little piece. All right, now we are going to add some shimmer to the die cut. So this is my clear Wink of Stella pen. So this is just going to put down a layer of shimmer, and I'm going to put this all over. And this is going to be one of those things that you're going to see when you turn it in the light. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to capture all the shine that is really there for you on camera. It's just one of those things. You kind of have to hold it to really see the awesomeness of it all. But I'll try and show you. So this, you just want to kind of squeeze it as you go, but be careful, because if you squeeze it right on the thing that you're coloring, you can get a puddle sometimes. So squeeze it off to the side gently, and it will flow more Wink of Stella. Okay, we have the Andradite Sparkle Gems. These are a really light green. They are somewhat translucent, so they're going to pick up a little bit of the color that's behind them, but over the top they have an iridescent finish, kind of like that aura foil that I used. So it is gorgeous with that foil. All right, there it is with all the embellishment, and now I can glue this down onto my 8.5 by 7 piece of cardstock that I scored at 3.5 inches to create my Slimline card. And now let's take a look at both cards, and then you can see just how different these two cards are with the same die and some of the same products, the Foiling Floral and the Happy Mother's Day dies. I'm going to link all the things that are currently available for you in the description box below. And if you are watching this before May 5th, you cannot get this new Floral Twinkle die yet, but if you are watching after May 5th, I'll have a link to the Trinity stamp shop. You can click over there and just search the Floral Twinkle Slimline die and you'll find it. So that is it for me today. I so enjoy sharing my creations with you and I would love to hear from you. So leave me a comment below and we can chat there. Happy stamping. Bye.